G'day guys, and welcome to Coffee Chats. If you don't know what Coffee Chats is, it's where I take a break from whatever it is I'm doing, make myself coffee, and use that time to answer any questions you might have. Today I'm just sort of reorganising space in my camera boxes because I've got a bag for it and I'm not a big fan of that, so I'm moving it to something a little bit more secure. So just give me a second, just gonna go grab a rag. Alright, and I'm back. So previously I just got myself a mount or a media mod for my GoPro, which basically turns my standard GoPro 9 Black into something a bit better for recording sound. But I now need to fit it in this case, and obviously now I've got lighting and all other things that need to go in here as well. So this one's my GoPro case, the other one is for my the other case I've got for my Canon, and obviously the lenses and stuff that go with it. So, but I don't use that often. I bring it out every now and then, but it's good for taking stills, and because I'm currently writing a book, I take the camera out with me a bit more so I can get some better photos. But yeah, so I've just got some lighting and everything for the GoPro now, especially for this overnight, because GoPros don't really see that well in low light conditions. So I just picked myself up a sort of battery powered light, which actually does get quite bright. So, but while I'm doing this, if you have any survival questions or anything like that, or any questions about what it is I do, feel free to ask, or just generally have a chat. I'm going to be doing this anyway, I may as well be talking to you guys. So like, obviously this is the case I've had for my GoPros for a while. Yo, what's going on? Yeah, so basically this case, it's got all my GoPro spare batteries, my spare GoPro. So I still carry an old Hero 3, and this is the one I use for doing real sketchy shit. So if I run the risk of losing the GoPro and what I'm doing, I'll use this one. If not, I'll use that one. Not much, man, not much is good at the moment. I'm just reorganising camera gear, getting it ready for some hikes and stuff, and getting ready to take some photos for the book I'm writing a survival how-to sort of guide, so a step-by-step instructional guide on various survival techniques. But yeah, but with this medium mount, it doesn't quite fit in there like it used to. So I think I just need to sort of figure it out now. I mean, it still fits in there, just not with the wind cover on. But as I said, I've also got to make some room for the lighting that now goes on my GoPro. So yes. So, fun fact about this knife. This knife was given to me by a friend of mine who... Yeah, well, I mean, it'd be nice if it could go that way. You know, be able to stop working the 9 to 5 and actually do something I enjoy, to be able to make some income. But I mean, I do it because I enjoy it. But yeah, but as I was saying, a friend of mine gave me this knife. They didn't really know what they had until they gave it to me. They still, I mean, I ended up telling them how actually sort of unique this knife is. But they still said I could have it. So this knife, like I said, was given to me by a friend of mine. And I knew this knife looked familiar, very familiar. I'd seen it somewhere before. And upon doing some actual research, this knife, which is in absolute mint condition for its age, so is the leather sheath and everything for it, and the leather grip, is actually a Vietnam War era survival knife out of a helicopter. So it is a pilot's survival knife that they would have in the survival kit in a helicopter in case they ever got shot down during the Vietnam War era. So I thought that's kind of cool, and it is in absolute mint condition. And yeah, how are you, Ben? Yeah, so I'm pretty stoked. I mean, I told him what it was after I figured it out, but he still said no, you can have it. So sort of one of my I actually have a full survival kit out of an aircraft, but it's a World War II era one floating around somewhere, probably in one of the boxes in the garage after all my survival gear got sort of kicked out of the house when the kids came along. It's not too safe to have a whole pile of fire lighting things and knives and stuff laying around the house with young kids. That needs to go there. So I love these tactics boxes, so these Pelican cases, purely just because, like as I said, every now and then I do some sketchy stuff, especially if I'm on rope, and you know, that's quite an expensive camera in a very soft bag, so normally my camera gear is in that, which is it's a padded bag, but it's not a very good one. Have a good one, man. Cheers for popping by. But yeah, I like that, and also because they got like the segmented foam that you can just cut and tear out. But that will work nicely. So you can see it's sort of coming along. So this is just some of the stuff I have to carry when I'm heading out. So I've got my bag, but I've also got camera gear. I've got a couple of tripods that have to come with me. This one's like my smallest sort of lightweight tripod, so it's like my favourite. The problem is it's not very tall, so I do the one you're on now actually goes quite a lot higher. So basically, this is my GoPro box, and in here, like I said, got 2 GoPros. Sure am, mate. I sure am Aussie. Sort of battery charger with spare batteries. I've actually got the batteries are on charge at the bigger bank at the moment. A couple of battery packs. Then just some sort of mounts and stuff like that. And of course the new light. So if you didn't see it before, that's the Hero, the 9 Black, but I've got a medium mod on it, which has got directional microphones, and it actually has mounts for lighting and other bits. So, because a few of the things I'm doing are at night, and although I'll be able to see because I've got like the night vision goggles and stuff like that, GoPros are hopeless at night. Oh yeah, nice. I don't really watch footy much, but yeah. But as for my other camera, like I said, I'm writing a survival how-to guide, step-by-step sort of, like a DIY style sort of book. Sports-wise, I mean, I used to follow the NPPL a lot. If you don't know what that is, that's a National Paintball Players League. I used to play a lot of paintball. But yeah, don't really watch much sport. Watch a little bit of racing, but that's about it. Not really a hunter anymore. I mean, I can still, but the Australian government is doing all they can to stop hunting, and it's really becoming a pain. I mean, I can still take my bows out anytime, but yeah. I'm actually in Western Australia, so I don't really know too much about the national parks over in Victoria in the high country. They are supposed to be pretty good. They got some pretty shit rules over there, though. My favourite thing? I don't know. In what context? Just my favourite thing sort of all together, or what? Alright, there we go. So that is the GoPro box sorted. Now this box I used to have my drone and stuff in before I sort of destroyed it. But now I'm going to use it for the Canon camera. Luckily I keep all the phone bits, so... yeah. Well, possibly my favourite thing would have to be pretty much what I'm doing. If you don't know me or anything, I've just left a 20-year career with search and rescue. So, sort of in between doing things. They started, like the organisation I was with, just started doing things that I sort of didn't agree with. Made it less about doing the job at hand and more about making sure everyone was included and stuff. So the level of training and the level of expertise and everything just went way downhill. So yeah, pelican cases are fantastic. First overnight hike, wilderness coast of Victoria. What's the most important thing to bring besides tent? Are you going by yourself, or are you going with friends or something? Because that would sort of probably one other person, just one night. I would probably say, I mean, are you familiar with the area, or are you not? Because I would normally say probably a way to be able to sort of get out, like the most important bit of equipment, because I usually, when I go out, I'm usually by myself. My most important bit of equipment I carry is this. So if you don't know what a PLB is, that's a PLB, and anytime I'm out, it always comes with me. Basically, if you know what an EPIRB is for a boat, that's what this is for on land. So especially if I'm out by myself, very simple to operate. This one has this one isn't like a Zoleo or something like that. It doesn't turn my phone into a satellite phone. This one's purely just a distress beacon. But other than that, I would suggest that if you're going for a hike, depending on the weather, a way to find water or a way to purify water. Yeah, because apart from, and obviously you said you've got a tent, stuff like that. When you're out the bush, basically the two most important things are your shelter and your water. Alright, have fun with that. Just trying to figure out a way to get Canon 1500D to fit in here with this strap. I'm thinking about getting rid of this strap actually. See if it fits in there without the strap and get a detachable one. I wouldn't have the foggiest of what your age is. Okay, so that's not going to be able to sit in there like that, it's too high. Right now, I have a hike coming back, hike coming up soon, where I'm going to be teaching some survival skills to another channel, the guys from Get Out There and Do It, and some navigation skills. So basically just repack my bag. But I recently have just come back from a few major surgeries. I had to take like nearly 12 months off because they had to remove nearly a foot of large intestine and a few abdominal muscles and stuff after I had a large rupture in my large intestine caused by diverticulitis, which I never even knew I had until it just about killed me. So basically what I'm packing for now is repacking all my gear, so it's actually comfortable on me, because like I said, I'm missing a big chunk of my abdominals, so my pack didn't sit right, and I got a whole pile of new gear while I was sitting out, so I also have to sort of swap out what needs to be swapped out and other bits like that. That's better. I can actually close it. Yeah, it was pretty brutal. It got to the point where they had to put me in a medically induced coma for a while. How are you, Lauren? Yeah, they had to put me in a medically induced coma for a few days because I'd become septic pretty quick, and it got to the point where they weren't sure if I was going to survive the surgery, but if they didn't operate on me then and there, I wouldn't have lasted to the end of the day. After about, I think it was about 3 days in a medically induced coma when they pulled my wife aside and said, "You've got to make the decision." But yeah. I would not have liked to have been in her shoes. Yeah, thanks, man. I have been putting a lot of work into the rehab side of things. Because according to my surgeon, I'm always going to feel pain, purely because, I'll show you. I am missing a large part of my abdominal muscles there, so I had to open me up completely, and then basically had to remove those abdominal muscles around there. So I do feel quite a bit of pain there, especially if I overexert myself, which is why I bought a whole pile of new gear, lighter gear, stuff like that. Catch you later, mate. Yeah, so my wife's at work, so you enjoy doing that. But yeah, like I said, I just, yeah, I'm okay now. If you asked me about 12 months ago, I probably wouldn't have answered, because I was in and out of hospitals and all sorts. It was not a fun time. Ooh. Oh yeah, cool. Right, so the cannon's getting sorted. I wasn't sure if the cannon was going to fit, but I think the only thing I've got to fit in there now is, does that come out? It does. Cool. Sort of pack in the charger now. Shouldn't really have to bring the charger, but yeah, this is my first hike back. I'm not doing it alone. Like normally when I'm out filming and stuff like that, I'm usually by myself. But this time I'm collaborating with another channel. I'm going to teach them some survival skills. They're going to teach me how to podcast because they run a podcast as well. So yeah, so it's all sort of going to work out in a way. But yeah, so how are you, Air? It depends where I am. I've usually always got ways of finding water. I usually bring a big plastic, it's actually a furniture bag out with me, which I can use to make a transpiration bag or use to make a solar still. There we go. If there's water in the area, I don't know if anyone out there's ever had Guardia. I have. It's not fun. Not fun at all. So I actually have a Puri bag. So if you give me 2 seconds, I'll go and grab it. So this is a Puri bag. The guys from Puri Bag sent this over for me to test a few years ago, and I've used it a lot. How are you, Air? I did say hi to you before, but I think you might have missed it. Yeah, but basically this is a Puri bag, and this, if I have access to water, can purify 10 litres of water at one go. Yeah, so can purify 10 litres of water at a time in half hour. And I've used this so many times. I've drunk water that probably should have made me very sick, perfectly fine after using the Puri bag. Basically, you just put your water in there, you throw one of these in, so empty one of these pouches in there, and wait half hour. It separates the water out. There's actually a video of me using it on my channel. But yeah, I mean, they weigh nothing. It just sits in my bag, and if I need it, I can. It won't get salt water out of like if you're near the ocean, it won't do that. Just like life straws don't. I carry a life straw as well, but yeah, I'm definitely bringing the Puri bag with me on this hike because I've done this one before, and the overnight spot where we're staying, the water source is a bit sketchy. It really all depends on your gear, basically. So obviously you want to be packing ultralight, and you're going to have to think about your food. You're going to have to think about how much water. Hi, Air. But yeah, so yeah, you got to sort of think about that. I'm not really, I mean, my bags are usually pretty heavy because on top of my gear, because I camp in a hammock, I don't bring a tent, so I've got a full hammock system, purely because the ground around where I live is just riddled with ticks, so I tend not to lay down on it, ticks and scorpions and all sorts. So I try and sort of stay off the ground, so I camp in a hammock. It's really lightweight. But on top of all my gear and clothes and food and stuff, I'm also carrying these, and I'm also carrying the tripod you're on. I'm carrying more batteries, sort of on top of that, so that's why I use such a rather large bag. Longest I've stayed out for a single hike probably would have been, I mean, it's not too long, about 4 days, 5 days. Yeah, it was quite a while ago though. Family life sort of doesn't let me get out there and do these long stints anymore, so I so I tend to try and keep them pretty short because I have got 3 young kids, so yeah, got 3 young boys. Oh, well and truly. I mean, the hike I did, there was places to be able to go swimming and stuff like that, so you crossed a lot of creeks and near the ocean and stuff, so it's not as if I didn't get, and I wasn't racing, so I just leisurely took it, so I made sure that I had time. I knew where my next campsite was. I'd plotted it all out on maps. I knew I had time to be able to stop and go for a swim or something like that, so, and dry off properly. So it's not as if I came back absolutely reeking. But yes, nothing's quite like your own shower. Am I sad Ozzy Osbourne died? I am, yeah, because I did enjoy the music. Didn't enjoy seeing what Parkinson's did to him though, so it's sort of a double-edged sword on that one. Oh, catch you later, Cam. Thanks for subscribing. Yeah, there's going to be quite a bit more content coming up, both long form and short form. Like I said, I'm going out on this hike soon, so there'll be some collabs and stuff there too. And I've got a whole pile of gear I need to test out and do reviews on. But yes, we were. So if anyone else has any survival related questions or anything, feel free to ask. I'll answer them to the best of my ability. If you want to know a little about me, I am the owner and survival trainer for can I shout out to VY and tell her to prepare for an overnight hike? Is that how you pronounce it, VY, or just VY? Is it Vi? But I can do that, I can shout out. Yeah, g'day Vi, shout out to you. V, shout out to you. You need to get prepared for an overnight hike. If you don't know how to do that, feel free to watch some of my videos, especially the ones on survival, especially if you get lost. As a 20-year search and rescue operator, I really don't want to be out searching for people. So, get prepared. No worries, mate. How are you, Coco? Catch you later, Cam. So if you've watched some of my videos before, you will notice that I am wearing a completely different uniform that I normally wear. Just sort of got sick of the old one, decided to sort of change it up. And I am thinking about, well, I just recently bought this hat today, just because I had the epiphany of, I don't know, doing something funny and getting a whole pile of funny morale patches and wearing a different funny morale patch on the front of it for each video. Just something. I know I've got a big stack of them on the way. It was one of those sort of spare of the moment thoughts, and before I kind of really thought about what I was doing, I'd already ordered them all, and they were all coming. So, thank you. So yeah, I mean, other than that, like I said, I've got the hike coming up. I'm really learning how to use the Canon camera because I've got my book pretty well sorted. All I got to do now is all the photos and everything, and I don't really want to use stock photos and stuff. So basically, I went out and got a decent camera for it. I don't know if anyone knows how to use a Canon EOS 1500D, but they are actually a pretty decent camera for a beginner. They are a fairly simple to sort of operate. How are you, Lauren? So where are we all from? I know I've had a couple of people ask me, am I an Australian? So I'm guessing there's people from everywhere else here. Well, I was on here the other day and I was speaking to someone from the guys from can't remember, but they were from Canada. They're in another channel. They would sort of mutually follow each other, which was kind of cool. Setting up all sorts. Yeah, look. The book has been in the works for quite a while. It's basically my channel in book form. So it's like a step-by-step tutorial guide on a wide range of survival skills. Purely because every time, I mean, I've got a full library of survival books and everything because people think that they're a great gift for me because of what I do. So I have quite a few, but every single one of them has got a lot of information you don't need. So the book I am writing or have written is like a bare to the bones, step-by-step guide on a wide range of survival skills. So that's sort of what that is. I haven't decided if it's going to be one book or whether I'm going to split it into multiple books. Like, cause obviously you've got your five pillars of survival, which is your shelter, fire, food, water, and signal for rescue. Don't know whether or not I split the book into 5 books and just basically so you can have it like a field manual. But anyway, that doesn't change the fact I still need to go out and take an absolute butt ton of photos for it. So I need to basically redo everything that I've done and take photos. Thanks, man. Yeah, I didn't want my book to be like everyone else's. I wanted it to be easily understandable to anyone, no matter what their skill level is. So basically, yeah, it's going to be like step 1, step 2, step 3. So the idea is that book you can actually use in an emergency without having to sit down and read it for 1,000 hours. You can actually just flip to the page you want. That's what I want to do. And there's multiple ways of doing it. So that's the idea behind it anyway. You're from Australia. Nice. Good to see another Aussie here. Like I said, so I think, yeah, like I was saying last time I was on, I ended up being on for a few hours and it got quite late. And by the end of it, I was speaking to like Canadians and all sorts, which is kind of cool. Yeah. So that's why I got the Canon camera, because I can take like those macro shots close up. I mean, I love the GoPros and all, but I just find them to film, yeah, great, but to take stills with them, they're not overly fantastic. I mean, they do take a good photo, but I truly prefer like the detail I can get out of a proper DSL camera. But in saying that, I mean, with the 9 Black now that I've got the media mod on it, which is basically given a directional microphone and actually allows me to attach lighting and external microphones and stuff on it, should be able to raise the quality of a lot of things. It's definitely going to raise the quality of the videos, because like I sit here and watch some of my videos every now and then, especially after I post them, just so I can sort of check them and notice the sound's not that fantastic. So I decided to go finally get the media mod with the directional microphone and realise that I can actually put lights and all sorts of stuff on here too. So hooray for that. And yeah, battery powered light as well. I mean, it is another thing I have to carry, but that's super light. Yeah, I've been thinking about a few other things I can do on this hike that's sort of coming up. The guys from Get Out There and Do It have asked me to teach them a few things, some navigation and stuff like that. I'm going to see if I can make them eat some really gross stuff, just for fun. Oh, I forgot to put that back in. Oh yeah, near Mandurah, yeah. I'm about 100 k's from Mandurah, or just under. Heading south though, because I really am a big fan of Perth. I'll catch you later, Lauren. How are you, Petrus? Yeah, look, my phone isn't a iPhone or Samsung or anything. My phone is purely for functionality, so I get like rugged phones. So the one I'm using now is a Doogee Fire 6, purely because of the shock rating, Gorilla Glass, the IP68 rating. It's got a built-in thermal camera. But welcome back. But yeah, more so for that. Because I've had iPhones, I've had Samsungs before, and with what I do, especially if I'm doing like some rock climbing or stuff like that, I tend to break them way too easily. And for like half the price, I can get a phone that's a lot tougher than those. The only drawback is the cameras and that, they're not as good. So, I remember you, Air. How are you? Normally I do these segments called coffee chats and I have coffee, but tonight I really couldn't be bothered having coffee, so I'm guessing it's Pepsi Max chats. I'm one of those lucky few who can sit there and drink about 4 or 5 coffees and then just go straight to bed and straight to sleep. So, but it is a tad warm tonight, so I'm not drinking too many coffees. I've had one before this, but I'm good. How are you? Oh, actually, I already asked that. Sorry. Yeah, I'm good. I'm doing good. Better now that I got the cameras back in the boxes. The only problem is like these boxes are a lot heavier than that bag that I used to carry all my camera gear in. So I have to take something out of my bag to sort of make it fit. Yeah, the fam's good, man. The fam is good. Oldest one's away on camp at the moment. Younger two are in bed. Yeah, what's your question, Air? what if I get bit by a snake? Well, if I get bitten by a snake, I do have that. So that is an emergency beacon, works the same as an EPIRB for a boat, but works over land. So basically I open that up, press the button, and it sends a distress signal with my location, and usually that'll get picked up. Works anywhere on the planet, because it basically sends it up to the satellites, and those satellites are monitored by the Australian Maritime Safety Authority. But I do know how to treat a snake bite. So I'm not sure where you're from, but here in Australia, Australian snakes usually, well, most of them carry a neurotoxin as opposed to a hemotoxin. So a lot of snakes in other parts of the world, the hemotoxin travels through your blood system and causes mass internal hemorrhaging and a lot of organ damage and stuff like that. Australian snakes carry a neurotoxin and doesn't travel through the blood, it travels through the lymphatic system. So the lymphatic system pumps only if you move. So usually, I mean, you get bitten by a snake here. Snakes here, their fangs aren't like hypodermic needles like other parts of the world. They actually have a groove on the outside of their fangs and the venom sort of drips down. So usually, 1 out of every 3 bites, someone will get envenomated. Most of the time, dry strikes. I mean, snakes don't want to bite you. You are too big for them to eat, so they don't really want to. They're not really aggressive animals. They're more defensive. They normally strike if they get shocked or feel trapped. So I think it's just kind of gently back away. But if you do get bitten, the trick is to stay as still as you can. You want to get compression bandages on from the side of the bite down all the way back up, and just keep going until you run out. You don't want it to cut off the circulation, so once you put it on there, you do need to do a capillary refill test. So if you don't know what a capillary refill test is, so if you look at your hand, look at your fingernail, and you squeeze your fingernail, let it go, it's white for a second and then goes pink again, that's a capillary refill test. So that means the blood's still sort of flowing. Because it's a neurotoxin traveling through the lymphatic system, the trick is to isolate and stay perfectly still until help arrives or until you can get dragged out of there. The more you move, the more you're going to pump that lymphatic system. And once it gets in your lymph nodes, so obviously you got lymph nodes under your arm, you got lymph nodes in your groin, you got lymph nodes under here. Once it gets into your lymph nodes, that's where you start to get a bit of trouble, because the neurotoxin attacks the nervous system, not the circulatory system, not your organs. Oh, yeah, I had a kangaroo on my street a couple mornings ago, because I don't live too far away from a decent area of bushland, so we got kangaroos everywhere here. What food do I eat? Oh, all sorts. Depends where I am. I mean, usually when I travel, I will eat what the locals eat. I mean, there's no point traveling and sticking with what you know. That's not the point. The point of traveling is sort of to immerse yourself in places. So I've eaten pretty well everything. If I do carry food with me when I'm out hiking and stuff like that. Where I live, there isn't too many edible berries. I mean, you can get some on the Persoonia longfolia, which otherwise it's known as like the snotty gobble tree. That makes some berries, but only a certain time of the year. We get a lot of rhizomes, so a lot of plants that have like that rhizome under the ground. A lot of them can be sort of roasted up and eaten. I'm quite close to the ocean, so there's plenty of things like sea lettuce and stuff like that as well. Actually, on this hike, I know exactly where I'm going to collect up some sea lettuce for the guys to try. For the guys from Get Out There and Do It channel. I'm going to collect up a few things on the hike and see if I can get them to eat them. A lot of sedges, like coastal sword sedge, stuff like that, where you basically pull out a leaf and the bottom white part of it is edible. Kind of tastes a bit like green apples, but you can't eat too much of it because it does have a laxative effect. I'll catch you later, Air. Thanks for your questions. Yeah, other than that, I mean, there's plenty to sort of eat. Just sort of depends on the time of year. So yeah. But yeah, if anyone else has any sort of survival questions, feel free to ask them. I'll answer them to the best of my ability while I'm here. I do actually have some more equipment coming. I'm just waiting for a few orders. In my year off, a lot of my gear sort of got lent out, and I don't know if you. Where I live, there's a lot of bulrushes, which I've heard some people call them cattails, or the forbidden corn dog. They are edible. So basically, at the base, the white part, actually chop it up like spring onion, cook it, eat it raw. If you eat it raw, it kind of tastes like spicy swamp cabbage. But again, yeah, so the bulrushes, quite edible. And there's usually quite a bit of food on them. Not many calories though. Survival's all about the calories, you know, and the fats. You know, because the average human, I mean, if you sat around, I know my base metabolic rate is about 1800 calories. So if I just sat there and did absolutely nothing for a whole day, like just laid there and just breathed, I would burn around 1800 calories. That is what my body requires to function on a daily basis properly. So when it comes to finding things to eat, a lot of the time it has to do with, like in a survival situation, it has to do with the calories. Because if you start eating below your base metabolic rate for a long period of time, your body will metabolize itself. Starts with the fats, then after the fats, moves to the muscle. Once it gets to a certain point with the muscle, it'll actually start breaking down organs, start going into organ failure. So, yeah, tend to try and catch more live game than only purely surviving on plants. But also in saying that, I mean, I can sit there and I mean, where I am, there's like millions of rabbits, millions of them. I can sit there and eat rabbits day in, day out and still die of starvation. Because they're a very lean meat, and you need more than just the meat, you need the fats and stuff like that as well. So, same with sort of other really lean meats. Thankfully, kangaroos are stupid, so they're actually quite easy to catch. They're not the brightest animal. But yeah. But for this hike that's coming up, I'm not going to be catching any live game or anything, because where we are is sort of in a sort of protected zone. It's like a bit of bushland between two national parks. So it's a little bit of bushland which is not owned by anyone. It's sort of like a Crown Reserve, but it's been sort of adopted by the national parks, but technically not in the national parks. But I'm still not gonna try my luck. Yeah, we get we get quite a lot of wild boar here, so a lot of wild pigs. They do a lot of damage to the farms around. Unfortunately, we've tried getting rid of them, but people keep bringing them back. Yeah, so they've proved scientifically that people around this area are taking pigs from other areas and bringing them here to give them something to hunt. And they proved that with DNA testing, actually, because pigs don't usually roam too far. They've got like a set area where they roam, and finding pigs with like maternal DNA a few hundred kilometers away from where they're from, it's sort of a given that that those wild pigs have been moved on purpose. We're also starting to get a lot of deer here. So deer aren't native here. So there's a place sort of south and inland that there used to be quite a few large deer farms, so a few venison farms. And years ago, some activists came and cut the fences and let out hundreds and hundreds of deer, and they didn't catch that many back, and they're just kind of spreading everywhere now, which, I mean, they do damage, nowhere near as much as pigs, but you can find them up in the hills, the deer, if you know where to look. And they are classed as a pest, so you can hunt them as long as it's not on national park land. But yeah, anyway guys, that's it for me. I'm going to head off. Thanks for sticking around for a chat. Thanks for your questions, and I will catch us next time.